Hello again. This is Grandpa Stan Hamilton from the 3rd Congressional District Republicans. We represent the western suburbs of the Twin Cities, and we're bringing to you another in our series of Minnesota Needs to Know messages. This is episode number 4, titled Common Sense, the Newspaper, and Two Cows. For those of us that are 65 plus, the baby boomer generation, we remember a time when all of our news came from either the 3 major TV networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, or the newspaper that was delivered to our house by the paper boy. Today, the newspaper is almost a thing of the past, but again, as a baby boomer, I can attest to picking up the newspaper and looking for the national news, the local news, the sports, the cartoons, and yes, something called the advice column. And who did we look to for advice? Well, it wasn't an economist, it wasn't a military general, it wasn't a PhD, it wasn't a lawyer, and it wasn't a doctor. No, it was one of 2 sisters, both of whom had a degree in common sense. Their names were Ann Landers and Abigail Van Buren. They would answer readers' questions ranging from what to wear to a special party, to how to handle a nagging issue with your significant other, or to how to deal with the neighbor who doesn't spray their dandelions. They were revered for their judgment, wisdom, and common sense. So now you know the connection between common sense and the newspaper. But then, just where do the 2 cows fit in? Trust me, I will try to connect the dots. But first, another short diversion. Here in Minnesota, we have experienced the impact of single-party rule over the past 2 years and for more than a decade of Democratic leadership from the governor's office. We are seeing, under the guise of progressivism, the growth of government and an alarming increase in the number of programs designed to treat a symptom but never address a cure. In fact, our Governor Tim Walz, currently seeking to be our Vice President of the United States, was just quoted as saying, "Don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness." Wow. I find that statement very scary, and I hope that most Minnesotans, after thinking about it, will reach the same conclusion. Okay, so where do the 2 cows fit into this message? This is where I turn to my advice columnist of choice, Ann Landers. Let's take a look at Ann's definition of a number of isms, starting with socialism. Socialism. You have 2 cows. Give one per government fiat to your neighbor. Communism. You have 2 cows. Give both cows to the government, and they might give you some of the milk. Fascism. You have 2 cows, you give all of the milk to the government, and the government sells it. Nazism. You have 2 cows, the government shoots you and takes both cows. Anarchism. You have 2 cows, keep both cows, shoot the government agent who comes to check in on your farm, and steal another cow. And finally, capitalism. You have 2 cows. Sell 1 cow and buy a bull. Well, there you have it. When our governor, and potentially our next vice president, is equating socialism to neighborliness, it is time for all of us to rethink the need for the restoration of common sense and balance in government. I would like to ask Governor Walz the question that author Thomas Sowell suggests that all of us ponder. So, Governor Walz, just what exactly is your fair share of what someone else has worked for. Of the isms we have to choose from, there is only one that makes sense for America, and it is capitalism. I am asking that you join with me and the CD3 Republicans to flip the Minnesota House of Representatives, just one half of one branch of our state government, to Republican control. Republicans currently need to pick up just 4 additional seats across the entire state to provide that balance in government that Minnesota needs. Please consider a vote for a Republican here in Minnesota this fall. And remember, you can vote your way into socialism. You cannot vote your way out. Thanks for listening.